is happening in the RV industry, what trends are emerging, and what sort of concerns out there.
Some of the most famous RV brands in America are collapsing right under our noses. Decades of trust are evaporating as hidden leaks, dangerous wiring, and broken promises leave families stranded. These aren't isolated complaints. They're patterns no dealer wants to admit. Which names are on the chopping block? Why are owners warning newcomers away? And how many road trips could turn into disasters if nothing changes? Gulfstream. For many seasoned travelers, the name Gulfstream once carried a kind of dignity that made it feel like a safe bet. Founded as a family-run operation in the early 1980s, the brand quickly found its place in the recreational vehicle landscape by delivering lightweight, budget-conscious campers that still looked polished when parked at campgrounds across America. Families who wanted an entry-level unit without breaking the bank often turned to Gulfstream. The company gained a reputation for being approachable, practical, and generally available in a wide variety of floor plans. For quite some time, a Gulfstream camper felt like a trustworthy choice for weekend trips and long summer getaways. Over time, though, the very qualities that once gave Gulfstream momentum began to work against it. The budget focus shifted too far toward cost-cutting, and buyers noticed. The single most common criticism today revolves around the roof construction. Owners frequently report chronic water intrusion, soft spots forming far too early in the camper's life, and joints that never seem sealed properly. When a roof fails on a recreational vehicle, it is rarely a small matter. Leaks lead to mold, warping, and expensive interior damage that no family wants to face after just a few years of ownership. Instead of being remembered for adventure, many Gulfstream rigs are remembered for tarps, buckets, and endless trips back to the dealer. Electrical reliability is another sore spot. Numerous reports describe batteries that die well ahead of schedule, wiring harnesses that are poorly routed, and fuse systems that appear hastily assembled. For travelers who rely on steady power to run refrigerators, lighting, or air conditioning units, such failures are more than an inconvenience. They can turn a carefully planned trip into an early ride home. Add to this the smaller frustrations of flimsy doors, sticky cabinet latches, and locks that either jam shut or refuse to secure at all, and the picture of a struggling brand comes into focus. Dealers have felt the impact as well. In markets where Gulfstream once occupied a strong mid-level position, sales have steadily declined. Competitors offering sturdier build quality, stronger warranties, and better long-term value now dominate the attention of shoppers. Where Gulfstream units once stood proudly on front rows, they now occupy dusty corners of dealership lots, waiting for buyers who rarely arrive. Even longtime enthusiasts who once swore by the brand now caution newcomers to steer clear, noting that reliability today simply does not match the glory days of the past. In the end, Gulfstream has become a reminder of how quickly a respected name can falter when quality control slips and consumer trust fades. The brand still produces models, but the loyalty is gone. And without loyalty, a recreational vehicle manufacturer has little chance of survival. And if you thought roof leaks and weak batteries spelled trouble, the next name on our list reveals what happens when a brand's entire promise of customer care collapses in plain sight. If you have ever owned one of these brands, drop your story in the comments and hit the subscribe button so more travelers avoid the same mistakes you faced. Shasta. Legends often rise from humble beginnings, and Shasta is one of those names that once stood for freedom on the open road. Born in the late 1940s, this brand quickly captured the imagination of families who wanted to see America without spending a fortune on oversized motor coaches. The small trailers with their signature wings became icons of mid-century travel, instantly recognizable at campgrounds and on highways from coast to coast. During the 1950s and 1960s, a Shasta parked in the driveway symbolized optimism, affordability, and the promise of summer vacations spent in nature rather than in crowded motels. Those early decades still inspire nostalgia, with collectors proudly restoring vintage Shasta campers as rolling pieces of Americana. Unfortunately, the magic of the past has not translated into lasting success in the modern marketplace. Today, Shasta finds itself weighed down by complaints that go beyond cosmetic issues and point to deeper concerns about commitment and responsibility. The most consistent criticism centers on the lack of dependable warranty coverage. Buyers explain that once the initial sale is finalized, the company seems to distance itself from its customers. When problems arise within the first year, the response is often silence, denial, or the suggestion that the issue lies outside warranty terms. For hardworking families who invested thousands of dollars into their first trailer, this indifference feels like betrayal. A recreational vehicle is not just a toy. It is often the centerpiece of family memories, and being left without support damages more than the unit itself. Beyond the absence of meaningful warranty backing, Shasta has developed a reputation for hidden flaws behind the walls. Faulty wiring, poorly secured connectors, and electrical shorts are among the most frequently reported problems. These issues are not minor irritations. They can be safety hazards when families are traveling hundreds of miles from home. Combine that with leaky plumbing fittings, misaligned doors, and cheap interior trim, and the frustration mounts quickly. Owners who once dreamed of carefree weekends soon find themselves spending time and money on repairs that should never have been necessary in a new purchase. Dealers, too, have grown cautious. Many now carry Shasta only in limited numbers, aware that disappointed customers are unlikely to return for repeat business. In a competitive market where buyers can choose from brands offering stronger construction and clearer guarantees, Shasta struggles to find its footing. Sales figures reflect the reality. What was once a household name has become a cautionary tale. Shasta's story shows how even a brand with deep roots and cultural recognition can stumble when it loses sight of accountability and quality. Nostalgia alone cannot carry a manufacturer forward, especially in a world where customers demand reliability and respect after the sale. As Shasta fades under the weight of broken promises, the next brand on our list demonstrates how even a company with decades of industry experience can fall victim to the harsh judgment of the very travelers it hoped to serve. Coachmen. Few names in the recreational vehicle market sound as familiar as Coachmen. Established in 1964, this brand once embodied trust, dependability, and the spirit of American exploration. For decades, Coachmen produced travel trailers, motorhomes, and fifth wheels that were seen at campgrounds in every corner of the country. Families chose Coachmen because the units seemed solid, practical, and ready for the open road. Generations of buyers felt comfortable recommending the brand, and for a long stretch of its history, Coachmen was considered a safe purchase for first-time owners as well as seasoned travelers. The decline, however, began when cost-cutting and rapid production outpaced quality control. Modern buyers have voiced strong concerns about leaks in roof seams and wall joints, particularly around the corners, where stress tends to build. A small drip may not sound catastrophic, but over time it leads to warped flooring, stained upholstery, and the dreaded mildew smell that is nearly impossible to remove. Owners who invested tens of thousands of dollars suddenly found themselves shouldering expensive repairs on rigs barely a few years old. What was once pride of ownership turned into resentment and disappointment. The downfall of Coachmen feels especially sharp because of its long-standing presence in American camping culture. Owners who once wore the brand with pride now often warn newcomers away. That reversal in reputation shows how quickly trust can erode when quality falters, leaving a legacy overshadowed by widespread disappointment. Plumbing has been another recurring sore point. Reports of faucets leaking beneath bathroom cabinets, loose fittings under kitchen sinks, and water pumps failing far too early in the unit's life cycle are common. The frustration grows when warranty departments fail to respond quickly, leaving customers either waiting for parts or paying out of pocket. Add to this a host of smaller irritations: drawers that slide open while driving, cabinet doors that refuse to stay closed, or vents that rattle loudly with every gust of wind. And it becomes clear why buyers have grown wary. A recreational vehicle should be a mobile home, not a rolling list of chores. The brand's reputation has also taken hits from inconsistent customer service. While some dealerships stand by their clients, others pass the buck, leaving Coachmen owners stranded in a maze of paperwork and unanswered calls. For many, this lack of accountability feels even worse than the mechanical flaws. Trust is the currency of the recreational vehicle industry, and once that trust is lost, it is nearly impossible to rebuild. Coachmen still exists, producing new models year after year, but the shine has worn off. Sales numbers have dwindled as rival brands emphasize stronger construction and better warranties. What was once a proud and respected name now lingers in the middle of the pack, struggling to prove its worth against a tide of negative reviews. Coachman's story highlights a painful truth. Heritage alone cannot save a brand that forgets the fundamentals of reliability and customer respect. Buyers want rigs that last, dealers that care, and companies that honor their word. Without those values, even a brand as established as Coachmen risks fading into irrelevance. And as disappointing as that fall may sound, The next company on our list reveals an even sharper decline, where early promise gave way to dangerous oversights and alarming failures. Fleetwood. Some brands rise to fame because they offer something truly different, and Fleetwood was once among them. Founded in 1950, Fleetwood quickly became a household name by delivering motorhomes and travel trailers that felt modern, stylish, and just rugged enough for the open road. Through the 1970s and 1980s, the brand was often associated with innovation, bringing new floor plan ideas, interior comforts, and bold marketing campaigns that made owning a recreational vehicle feel like a gateway to adventure. Many families bought a Fleetwood as their first introduction to road travel, and countless memories were built inside its aluminum and fiberglass walls. However, as the years rolled forward, cracks began to show, not only in the literal sense of failing materials, but in the figurative sense of a company losing its edge. Customers in the last 2 decades have pointed to troubling patterns of corner cutting. One of the most alarming issues reported is refrigerator fires linked to faulty control panels. A refrigerator is supposed to keep your food cold and your trip worry-free, but when it becomes a fire hazard inside a small, enclosed space, the consequences are frightening. Some owners describe waking up to smoke alarms in the middle of the night, while others report scorched interiors that required full replacements. Such failures do not simply tarnish a reputation, they put lives at risk. Beyond the mechanical flaws and customer frustrations, many longtime enthusiasts express sadness over what Fleetwood has become. A brand that once symbolized excitement and pride now often inspires hesitation. Buyers who once dreamed of owning a Fleetwood unit now hesitate, proving that reputation, once tarnished, is incredibly difficult to restore. Beyond that severe safety issue, Fleetwood has also suffered from what many buyers describe as cheap interior materials. Cabinets that splinter under normal use, drawers that refuse to stay shut, and flooring that bubbles after only 1 season of camping all feed into the narrative of a once mighty brand that forgot how to build tough. The frustration only deepens when warranty claims are met with resistance, delays, or outright denial. A family that stretched their budget to invest in a Fleetwood should not have to fight just to receive basic accountability, yet that has become an all-too common experience. Sales figures tell the rest of the story. Where dealerships once proudly displayed rows of Fleetwood units, many now keep only a token few, and some have abandoned the brand entirely. Competing manufacturers offer sturdier construction and stronger guarantees, leaving Fleetwood in the shadows. Enthusiasts who still recall the golden age of Fleetwood find themselves shaking their heads at the contrast between past glory and present decline. The lesson is simple but sobering. Safety hazards combined with weak build quality can bring even a well-known company to its knees. Fleetwood has not disappeared entirely, but it now serves as an example of how quickly trust can vanish when reliability is sacrificed. And if refrigerator fires and crumbling cabinets feel like the lowest point, the brand that comes next shows how even structural frames themselves can betray the very people who believed in their strength. Heartland. Every industry has a brand that enters with bold promises and fresh ideas, only to stumble when the weight of expectations becomes too heavy. Heartland is one such brand. Founded in the early 2000s, specifically around 2003, Heartland Motorhomes and Trailers was born with the mission of creating dependable, feature-rich recreational vehicles that blended innovation with comfort. The company marketed itself as a builder that paid attention to detail and cared deeply about customer satisfaction. For a time, those claims resonated. Heartland models such as the Bighorn, North Trail, and Sundance earned attention at trade shows, and customers believed they were buying into a rising star in the industry. Momentum grew even stronger when Thor Industries, one of the largest recreational vehicle conglomerates in the world, acquired Heartland in 2010. At first, many saw the acquisition as a good sign. With additional resources, Heartland would surely improve manufacturing processes and expand its lineup. Instead, many loyal buyers argue that the quality began to slip almost immediately. Complaints of poor workmanship, rushed assembly, and subpar materials multiplied. The shift from family-oriented craftsmanship to large-scale production left a sour taste for those who expected durability. The frustration with Heartland is not limited to technical flaws. It extends to the emotional toll of broken trust. Families who imagined cross-country journeys instead face repair bills and delays. this sense of betrayal lingers, proving that durability and honest support are worth far more than flashy brochures or bold advertising. Among the most serious concerns are structural failures. Reports of roof damage, wall cracks, and even frame problems appear again and again. Owners describe hairline fractures running up the sidewalls that eventually spread, allowing moisture inside. In some cases, entire roof panels have required replacement within only a few years of purchase. For a product costing tens of thousands of dollars, such catastrophic flaws are unacceptable. These issues create not only financial burdens, but also safety concerns for families traveling at highway speeds. Inside the units, the complaints continue. Loose plumbing fittings that leak behind walls, air conditioning systems that struggle during peak summer heat, and cheap furniture upholstery that peels after minimal use are all common themes. Many customers also voice anger over the lack of meaningful warranty support. Instead of quick solutions, owners describe endless phone calls, slow parts shipments, and blame shifting between dealerships and the manufacturer. The sense of abandonment intensifies the frustration, transforming what should be a joyful investment into a source of stress. Dealers that once proudly pushed Heartland have become more cautious. Some now highlight competing brands that appear sturdier and more reliable, leaving Heartland units parked in the back rows of lots, waiting for buyers who are harder to find. Sales trends reflect this shift as the brand struggles to maintain the momentum it once enjoyed. Nostalgia for the early days still exists, but nostalgia alone cannot carry a company forward in such a competitive market. Heartland's story illustrates how quickly a reputation can collapse when trust erodes. Buyers no longer simply want flashy floor plans or slick advertising. They demand genuine reliability and accountability. Without those fundamentals, even a young brand backed by a giant corporation can find itself sliding toward irrelevance. And as harsh as structural cracks and customer disappointment may sound, the final brand on our list demonstrates how even the biggest name in the industry can lose ground when problems pile too high. And that wraps up our full countdown of recreational vehicle brands struggling to survive. Now it is your turn. Have you owned one of these rigs? Or do you know someone who has? Share your story in the comments, because real experiences help future buyers avoid the same traps. If this video gave you value, hit the like button, and do not forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the brands shaping your next big decision. Turn on notifications, because the next list might just save you thousands of dollars and countless headaches before your next adventure. Thanks for watching. I will see you on the next one.